Hello and welcome to Meet the Candidates, a forum for those running for the Ramsey City Council Ward 1 in the November 8th election. My name is Leslie Waterhouse and I'm a member of the Anoka, Blaine, Coon Area League of Women Voters who sponsors Meet the Candidates. I live in Big Lake and do not have a vote for this city council position. The League of Women Voters does not support or oppose any political parties or candidates. The League does help citizens become informed voters, and we advocate for important issues that we have studied. The Meet the Candidates Forum is about informing voters. If you're interested in the League, visit our webpage at lwabcmn.org. We invite people of all genders, gender identities, and adults of all ages to join. To begin the forum, the candidates will answer 2 introductory questions they received in advance, followed by questions that were submitted by the public via our website, and questions of importance to the League of Women Voters. And then we'll end with closing statements. Answers are limited to 90 seconds for each of the 2 introductory questions and 1 minute for each of the other questions and closing statements. And candidates will rotate being the first to answer. So welcome Ward 1 candidates, Mickey Adams and Michael Olson, and thank you both for participating. Even though I'm not able to vote in this race, I really enjoy the opportunity to be here to moderate and hear the answers to the questions, so thank you. And names were drawn for who would begin, so starting with candidate Olson. The first introductory question: what is your motivation to run for this office, and what experience or knowledge would help you serve effectively?
Well, thank you again for holding this forum. I think it's a very valuable thing for voters to get to know the candidates in a forum like this. In 2020, I felt the call to run for mayor in that race, and doing that, in that process, I came to realize the importance of local politics, city level things. I lost that race by a narrow margin, but I learned a lot in the process. I got to know a lot about the residents of Ramsey, going out doing door knocking, having lots of conversations with them. And I really decided that I want to make a difference in my community. And I think a good way to do that is to enter into a public office like this. Since then, I became the chair of the SD35 BPOU, and I'm currently the chair of Ramsey's Economic Development Authority. When the redistricting happened, I ended up in a different Senate district, SD31, where I'm currently deputy chair. I'm also chair of an industry organization called IADD, Printing and Die Cutting Industry. So those experiences and the knowledge that comes with working in those organizations, I think will go a long way to help me be an effective member of the council. Community involvement, I've been involved with my church pretty much all my adult life in various leadership positions, and we're involved with our community as well. My wife and I always host the Night to Unite party, so thank you very much.
Thank you. And candidate Adams?
I'm Mickey Adams, and I am running for Ramsey City Council Ward 1. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for this opportunity, and I want to thank you for listening. We need to improve our image, lower our taxes, fix our roads. I want people to know what a beautiful city we have and get the council back to policy making rather than micromanaging.
Thank you. And starting with you, candidate Adams, what are your goals for the future of Ramsey?
My goal for the future of Ramsey is to bring in more business, bring in nice shops, restaurants, and just to get it back on its feet. And there's been a lot of years where we've been trying to get this business area going, and it's been one thing after another. I think we need to get the council back to making policy and get this show on the road.
Thank you. And now, questions that came from the public via our website. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to respond to the questions.
I haven't responded to that question yet.
Oh,
You're getting ahead of
Thank you.
yourself.
I am ahead of myself. Thank you. Candidate Olson, what are your goals for the future of Ramsey?
For the future of Ramsey, my goals would be to continue to develop the business climate and culture here. We're attracting some businesses that needs to continue. I would like the city of Ramsey to be an attractive city for families to come live and enjoy what we have to offer. I would like to see Ramsey be differentiated from our neighbors, Elk River, Anoka, Andover, et cetera. I'd like to see us offer something that they don't have. So I think that there needs to be some thought that goes into that. What kinds of businesses do we want to attract? What do we want our housing to look like? I'm concerned about the rural-urban balance and the way that has been, the urban field has been kind of encroaching on the rural. So I'd like to see some changes happen in that. And clearly we need to continue working on roads. I'd like Ramsey to be sort of a destination for some people as well. So something needs to be established that will attract people to come visit and shop our businesses.
All right, thank you. And now we can go on to our next set of questions. So I apologize for that, but thank you. And these are the questions that came from the public via our website, and each candidate has 60 seconds to respond to the questions. And this one will start with candidate Olson. Ramsey is a growing area, and residents are interested in when businesses will fill our downtown area. What would you do to promote a business-friendly environment?
Being on the EDA, I get to see the things that we're actually currently doing that are working to attract businesses. Incentives, we've got support funding for helping people get started. And I think a lot of it has to do with the city as a whole, what we're doing with our residential development, and there's just a lot of factors that go into it, but it is important to attract more businesses. Restaurants are clearly a big thing that brings people to the area. So once again, kind of differentiating ourselves from the neighbors. So we need some interesting things.
Right, thank you. And candidate Adams, would you like me to repeat the question?
I would start by improving our image. My husband and I have been residents of Ramsey for 29 years, and we've watched a lot of things, a lot of changes being made. We need to capitalize on what a beautiful city we have. 2 rivers, friendly residents, a beautiful industrial area, and lots of trees, and space, and big interest in shops and good restaurants. Make it look like Ramsey is a place where investors want to have their business. No more Rantucky. More business increases our tax base, and in so doing, it keeps our taxes in check.
Thank you. And candidate Adams, recently Ramsey indicated it would pause its progress on a water treatment facility due to budget concerns and the current inflated environment for construction cost. Do you think the city should push forward on a water treatment plant?
Well, inflation is hitting everywhere, and construction is no exception. The price tag moved from $32 million to $47 million in 2 years. Yet the plant can be built without an impact to anyone's property taxes. We absolutely need clean drinking water. It's a tough decision to push something like this through, but the health and safety of our residents requires us to make these tough decisions. Wouldn't you prefer clean drinking water without having your taxes go up? Of course you would. It's a hefty price tag, but one that will likely keep going up. I'd stand by action now versus seeing a do-nothing wait attitude.
Thank you. And candidate Olson, the same question?
The pausing a project like that is reminiscent of what happened with our roads. City councils in the past dragged their feet on road repairs, and it got us into a world of hurt where we sit now with lots of roads that need repaired. We're way behind on that. So making a decision about putting something on hold is not something that you can take lightly. You need to give lots of consideration to all of the factors. Mickey brings up some good points. And I honestly haven't given thought to this specific issue, but it certainly is worth lots of thought. So I don't have a current decision, but I would weigh both sides.
Thank you. Candidate Olson, what do you see as currently the biggest issue or problem facing Ramsey? What is your main objective for the city if elected?
Well, I keep beating the same drum, but roads are something that people travel on all the time, and out knocking on doors, it comes up regularly as a concern of the residents. So I think roads is probably my biggest thing at this point. It's certainly not the only thing that the city council faces, but my personal opinion is we need to focus more funding and attention on getting caught up on our road repairs. It just needs to be a priority.
Right, thank you. And candidate Adams.
Well, our roads are a huge issue, and we need safe roads for our residents and businesses. Common sense government is necessary to making good decisions for our community. We need to get back to that. Get the council back to working together. Improve our image. Basically, we all want the same thing, and I know that we can work together to achieve it. Let the experts at City Hall do their job. That's why we have them. If you ask for help, if they ask for help, help them, but basically stay out of their way.
Thank you. Candidate Adams, Ramsey has a unique balance of suburban and rural areas. What do you think that balance means, and how is it maintained?
I have one of the beautiful things about Ramsey is that we have both rural and suburban areas. We need to respect that. However, everyone should have respect for their neighbors. Neighbors should maintain their property on both the urban and the suburban areas. Junk cars belong in the junkyard. Garbage cans should be out of sight. Be proud of your castle.
Thank you. And candidate Olson.
Well, Ramsey has been called a place where the city meets the country, and that's one of the nice features of Ramsey. You're not far from the Twin Cities, and at the same time, if you go to the northern parts of Ramsey, you feel like you're heading into farmland, and it's a very attractive thing. And as I have already mentioned, my concern with maintaining that is how we advance the residential development. I think it needs to be a gradual transition from closer neighborhoods to larger parcels. So I think care needs to be taken in the decisions we make for our housing development.
Thank you. Candidate Olson, with Highway 10's inevitable construction, how do you plan on supporting local businesses during that construction time?
Signage is probably a very important factor during this time. There may be opportunity for temporary signage during the construction period. And once 10 is completed, there's going to be elevation changes. So the concern is that some of the businesses in the core may not have the drive-by visibility that they currently do. So I know there's plans in place for adding some variable signage, electronic signage, that will give business an opportunity to kind of catch people's attention as they're driving by on 10. So things like that, I think, are important.
Thank you. And Candidate Adams?
I think it goes back to our image. We have to publicize the fact that we have these beautiful shopping area. We have a lovely industrial section, and we have lots of space left yet to add more. Once the Highway 10 project is done, it's going to be quite different for us, and people will find it easier to get to us. We just have to let them know what is here.
Thank you. Starting with you, Candidate Adams. Roads seem to be an ongoing issue in Ramsey. How should Ramsey fund Ramsey roads, and how might you address maintenance, potholes, and road repairs?
The roads, that is an issue. The franchise fee, bonding, things like that all have to be decided. I think that we need to listen to the experts and have them guide us so that we can all work together to get the residents on the same page. We can't, one of the things that you used to do was charge by your frontage and on the road, which for people in the rural areas was devastating. So it has to be fair. I think that right now that the franchise fee is the way to go, but I would like to see all possibilities and work together with the residents.
Thank you. And Candidate Olson?
The franchise fee is, in my mind, it just established a number that somebody came up with that is a baseline for what it takes to maintain the roads. I'm not certain where that number came from, but trusting that it's accurate, I think we need to add to it because we're so far behind in our road repairs that at a steady pace level of funding, we're never going to catch up. So I think we need to accelerate the attention on road repairs. We need to increase the funding, whether that's through increasing the tax levy or shifting where the tax funds are going, maybe cut back in some areas for a short time. But it needs to be picked up.
Thank you. Bees and Candidate Olson. Bees and other pollinators are a critical part of our environment. What would you do to create a pollinator-friendly community?
I think pollinator-friendly gardens and whatnot, they're beautiful. And I think, as I've said before, it might be kind of fun to establish contests of some sort where people are encouraged to add pollinator-friendly garden spots in their yards. It could be a tour-worthy thing if it gets to be popular enough. But pollinators are certainly important. I've got a couple of apple trees, and without them, I wouldn't have any apples. So it is something we need to keep in mind and not just turn everything into an urban concrete jungle.
Thank you. Candidate Adams?
Well, pollinators are extremely important to our livelihood. I would encourage everyone to be actively involved in planting pollinator gardens. Provide education on how to do this, and they are beautiful.
Thank you. And candidate Adams, should Ramsey have a city manager form of government? Why or why not?
Have a city manager form of government, why and why not? I believe that what we need to do is get the council to make good policy and listen to the experts. We all can learn from the experts and do a lot of study on that issue. I
Thank you.
do believe a city manager is a good thing.
All right, thank you. And candidate Olson,
A city manager is a single point of contact, information, decision-making. Council is 7 voices. With 7 people, you can get out into the community more. I don't know that they do, but I think that council members ought to get in front of their constituents and hear their voice, hear their concerns firsthand, not just an invitation to a council meeting. I think there needs to be more active involvement going from the council out to the residents. And in doing so, with 7 people, you get a lot more input. And then the council can take what they get from the residents and sit in council meetings and make decisions based on what they've learned.
thank you. Candidate Olson, what steps will you or can you take to prevent crime in Ramsey?
Well, I am a pro law and order guy, fully support the police, and I think Ramsey does a good job of supporting the police department. We've got terrific police force, led well. Thus far, I don't think Ramsey has been experiencing a lot of crime. That being said, it's not perfect. The police have things to do. So I think encouraging an active and visible police presence in areas that are of concern is probably, good prevention.
Thank you. And candidate Adams?
I think if we have in part of our core area, a place for kids to gather, have something to do. I think that would go a long way for helping them. A skate park, or stuff for them to do to help keep them out of trouble. I think we do have a very good police department, and we need to teach respect and for everybody. I would never vote on anything that would go against the law. I would definitely support our police department.
Great, thank you. And candidate Adams, please explain your perception as to what the role of city council is or isn't.
I think the city council is what do I want to say? A sounding board. I think city council should bring the residents and the council and the city together. The city council has no business micromanaging our staff. We have hired experts to take care of the roads, the water, the fire, the police, everything. And we should let them do their job and listen to their expertise.
And candidate Olson?
The city council is a body that is gathered to make decisions ultimately on recommendations that come from various commissions, hearing the voice of the residents, and enlisting input from experts and outside people, most of which comes through the city staff. It's a body that should direct the city staff in what direction to be going, what kinds of information to be gathering, so that they can make good decisions. Ultimately, it lands on them to make the decisions that affect the residents and the development of the city. So essentially, it's just a decision-making body.
All right, thank you. And candidate Olson, describe how you work with others and how you would integrate yourself into the city council.
I work with others very well, I think. I have throughout my career in the printing industry been able to work with people who have been difficult to work with. I engage with them. I don't pick sides. If somebody comes to me with a problem, I don't just immediately jump on their side and say, well, yeah, that other person is bad. I weigh all of the factors. I get information from every perspective that is available to me before landing on a decision. And I would treat the city council position the same way. I'm not going to just jump on a decision about something because somebody said something. I'll throw it in the hopper, gather other information about whatever the topic is, and try to see it from multiple perspectives, and then bring my thoughts to the council. And then, of course, it's a 7-person vote to decide what we ultimately do.
Thank you. And candidate Adams?
Well, my husband and I owned a business for 25 plus years. We've been active members in both chambers of commerce. Metro North Chamber, we were chosen Business of the Year. Anoka Area Chamber, where I served on the board of directors for 4 years, and I was presented with the President's Award. I believe that experience, plus the many committees that I have served on through the years, has given me the ability to work with others fairly and with an open mind. And I believe that is a big, besides the business end of it, I do well with others.
Thank you. And candidate Adams, how can Ramsey embrace and encourage more volunteerism?
That's a good question. Volunteering right now is very hard. It's hard to get people to volunteer to do things. Everybody is very busy. I know at church we're just crying for volunteers also. It used to be so easy. It's not. I don't exactly know what the answer is, but the more volunteers you can have, the lighter the work. So I just think you have to beg. Yeah, I don't really know what the answer is for getting people to volunteer.
Thank you. And candidate Olson?
Pay them. No. Getting volunteers, as Mickey said, seems to be a growing problem. I've noticed this throughout my life, that getting volunteer positions and things like that, getting even people responding to invitations seems to be on the decline. It's a cultural thing. I'm not sure what drives it, but I think the solution, in part, I mean, ultimately, I think it should start in the family. It should be modeled by mom and dad, and kids should grow up being encouraged or required by their parents to do some volunteer services. But absent being able to control people's families, I think a one-on-one invitation from one person to another, hey, I'm going to go do this thing, can you come along and help? Get people involved in it. I think people recognize the value of doing volunteer work once they're into it.
Thank you. And that wraps up the questions that we had submitted for this evening. So now each candidate will have 1 minute to give closing statements, and we'll begin with you, candidate Olson.
Well, once again, thank you for holding this forum. I think it's a great tool for the voters of the city to be able to hear their candidates out in a forum like this. Running for Ward 1 City Council, my name is Michael Olson, and I would appreciate your votes. If elected, I have been hearing lots of things from residents as I'm out door knocking, and there's a lot of information out there that the residents have, and it's just a matter of mining that. And if I'm elected to the council, I plan to keep going out and getting in front of residents and hearing what they have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And candidate Adams?
I'm Mickey Adams, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum and for the invitation to present my views for the Ramsey City Council. And thank you for listening. I believe my experience as a business owner and Chamber of Commerce board member, plus all the other committees I have served on through the years, will make me a very good council member. I want the council to listen to you. I'm here for you. I am not here for me. Let's work together with common sense and build a stronger community. If you want to donate and to help me build this stronger community, and if you want more information, visit my website. voteformickey.com, and that's the number 4, voteformickey.com. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Mickey Adams, and I'm asking for your vote on November 8th for the Ramsey City Council, Ward 1.
Well, thank you both, candidate Adams and candidate Olson, for speaking to voters this evening about issues and running for Ramsey City Council. And that concludes our forum for Ramsey City Council, Ward 1. And thank you also QCTV for your recording and the Meet the Candidates Forum. And thank you viewers for your interest in becoming informed voters. As we move through the election season, link to all our local election forums at lwvabcmn.org, as well as the QCTV website and YouTube. And if you have any questions left unanswered by the forum, you can contact the candidates directly. To register to vote or update your registration, go online to mnvotes.org. You can also register when you go to vote, but there's a lot of races on the ballot this year and with redistricting. So if you're unsure where to vote or if you want to preview your ballot, just go to mnvotes.org. Again, that's mnvotes.org. And when you vote, you participate in democracy, you make it stronger, and you make it yours. Vote on or before November 8th. And thank you.
Thank you.